wanted to take a break from the regular gameplay that I post and talk a little bit of a deck list coming out of OP10. And this is obviously well far in the future for us in the West. We're just getting release weekend for OP09 and everything. So we're just leaving a Doflamingo metagame in 8.5, and I'm already talking about 10, but I think this topic is really relevant for deck building. And I think some of the choices that people are making to succeed in the game. Now, eventually, I could be wrong about some of the things that I state. I think a lot of this might end up being subjective, but I'm hoping to have this as an open discussion to talk about some of those like one ofs or two ofs that people bring in their Nami decks, and we're going to centralize it around this tweet. So this is actually nothing against Atrocious. They were the ones that kind of brought it to my attention. They tweeted this out. I saw this. So shout out to Atrocious winning Nami deck officially, playing OP10 Cavendish. I kind of responded to below. I'm like, ain't no way the one of is that strong. Usopp is and will always remain a house though as a singleton. They said, I don't hate it. Any matchup with no removal threats is safe play and can battle bodies, but might also be all right as a play down in a matchup with removal to redirect Dawn, which is also fair too. He was on the winning team, so it can't be that bad. Well, tell you what, first things first, let's just get it out of the way. Shout out to Atrocious here. Great channel. They just hit 10K the other day, so show them some love if you love some of the commentary that they do. I love their stuff. Every so often I'll pop into one of these and see what's going on with the metagame, but they do some great breakdowns and of gameplay. But let's hop into the list itself. So first and foremost, I'm seeing some things that don't really make a lot of sense to me. Okay, so losing a lot of slots, right? So firstly, we have no Gloriosa, by the way. We're playing the Kuja Pirates package. We got 3 Margarets, 3 Snake Dance, no Gloriosa. Okay, immediately I'm not a fan. Immediately I'm not a fan, because your only searcher is Nami, and Nami can't grab these 3 right here along with the Boodles, which are I'm going to touch on in a second. We're for some reason playing playing our 2-cost bounce card, right? Return, I'm forgetting the name of the card right now off the top of my head, but it's bounce any character with 4 costs or lower back to its owner's hand and then trigger activate main. Why are we playing those 2 instead of a 4th Snake Dance and a 4th Love Mellow? I don't know. This is where I wanted to kind of criticize some deck building. Yes, they're on the winning list. I don't know if this is a good list. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to throw that criticism out there. Like, you got the 2 Apis in there. Okay. Got some 2K counters. You got Rush Usopp. I can accept that. Rush Usopp as a singleton. It's not my thing, but I get it. I understand. I've won with Rush Usopp before. It's a house. It does crazy things, right? Coming out of nowhere, especially on a 10 Dawn turn where your opponent has no blockers. Coming down out of, you 8 cards left in deck. You draw to 7, play the Usopp, 6 Dawn. Your opponent's got a counter 11K. Come on. It's a house, right? Problem is we're losing very good cards in our draw spells and our draw events. I'm calling them spells. Snake Dance as well to be able to bounce some of our other effects. All to play these 2 bounce effects, and then we're playing 3 Boodle where we should be playing Gloriosas. This is another thing. I genuinely don't understand Boodle. I don't get it. And I may, I may do my due diligence this week and try Boodle out, because people have been talking about Boodle in OP09. I don't see it. I don't see it, right? Cavendish is the big discussion here, and I'm going to dedicate kind of a good portion of this video to Cavendish, but I don't get the Boodle. So for those of you that don't know, way back in OP03 when Nami came out, blocker after your opponent declares an attack, whatever, right? On KO, you may trash 1 card from the top of your deck. So it's meant to just play out for 2 Dawn. They KO it and you trash 1 card. So 2 Dawn to mill 1 card. Also, to be fair, I shouldn't be too diminishing about it. It does block an attack or takes up Dawn as resources that they could then potentially have used towards another attack. Now, it's just 1 card. It's East Blue. I get it. It has a counter, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Yes, it's not dead in hand. I'll give it that. I just don't think this is high impact enough, right? The searcher for this is Apis. You have to lose so many cards for it. I don't know if this is the searcher you're looking for. A lot of other searchers don't have that requirement to grab these cards, so it tends to be a lot more free. I'm very low on this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just, in general, I'm very low on Boodle, right? In OP09, I don't get it. I don't like committing to cards like this. Margaret is 1 more Dawn. It can draw you. It will draw you a card. and it's searchable off Gloriosa, which just requires you to pay 1 Dawn and grab it, right? Yes, it doesn't have a counter on it. If Margaret had a counter on it, that card would be busted. That card would be busted good, right? You would always be playing Gloriosa because you have a searchable 1K, right? It's balanced with no counter on it. 3 Dawn, you can play it out. I think it has more effect than this because drawing the card is more valuable to you in a Deathwing-less deck list than it is to mill 1 card, right? At the end of the day, even if you're playing Deathwing, it's 1 more resource in hand. It's a card you could use instead of Deathwing. It could draw you further down the game, right? So you could, you know, play a Margaret and actually draw into a Kaya. You could play a Margaret, draw into a Pilaf, and keep being proactive from there, right? It's all possible. And I think that's what my central problem is with something like Boodle. Next up is the Rush Usopp. I kind of had my little spiel about Usopp already, but this is a card I can't necessarily harp people on. It's not my style, but I have played it every so often, and I applaud people for doing so because, again, as I mentioned, this card is a house. It's good. As a one of, your opponent's not expecting it. If you're playing multiple and you're playing like Battle Nami, then sure. It can be a little bit tougher there because you have a lot more dead draws, but as a one of, it's great. It's great. You got 1 slot, throw Rush Usopp into there. I can't harm you for that. But really, it's OP10 Cavendish that kind of sparked the topic for this video. So 4 Dawn, 6K power, OP10, Dressrosa, beautiful pirates. So Dressrosa is, I think, probably like the key here. Draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Okay. All right. So it's 1 attacking, once per turn, right? So, you know, if there ever was a chance where you could restand it, you're not doing that in Nami, but once per turn, doesn't have rush. It has no counter on it, notably. No counter. It's a dead draw in hand. It does have 6K power, which is decent. Okay, that's not bad. That's going to be able to combat a lot. There's been a lot more 6K power things. White Snake has had kind of diminishing returns as the metagame has evolved, but the card's still good. Draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. So there's a lot of similarities to this to another card that I think a lot of Nami pilots have tried before as well. Notably, this card, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. This puts you up on cards, right? So this isn't coming in for a rush where it would replace itself. On the turn after that, you draw a card for turn, you attack. You don't need to actually attach any Dawn to this, which is nice. There's no commitment to that. And then you just draw 2 cards and trash 1 card. So the biggest comparison I can bring this to is not actually Das Bones, like 5-cost Mr. 1, actually Draco Mihawk. So in this case, this card is a 2K counter, right? So you can't search it up with any regular searchers. 7 Warlords is to see if you're playing that searcher, you can play this, but this is 4-cost, 5K power. Then you have to attach a Dawn when attacking. This doesn't say once per turn. So again, I have to mention the niche scenario of if you're able to restand it, you're then able to draw 2 more cards. But for that 1 Dawn, you get a Kaya effect. So for the cost of a Kaya, add it to the Dawn of this 6K power attack in, draw 2, discard 2, right? You're even on cards. You're not up on cards. So the Cavendish allows you to draw 2, discard 1. You're up. You get to keep one of those cards. The Draco Mihawk just gets you, it gives you selection. So if you have 0 cards in hand, you're not going to end up with cards in hand. If you have 1 card in hand, you're going to end up with 1 card in hand. Cavendish, if you had 0 cards, you end up with 1. Cavendish, if you're at 1 card, you end up with 2, right? So big difference there. And again, both don't have rush. Mihawk has the counter on it. I just don't know if this is really playable like Cavendish is. I don't know if this is actually that good. I think Mihawk is a better card. They both cost the same. And if red has a big rise, you have to understand that the removal in this game right now is cost-based, right? Blue has the tucking, and then black has the cost-based removal. If red rises a little bit, then you could have the power-based removal become a little bit better. Like we had that event come out or get spoiled for OP10 that introduced some type of like power-based interaction in blue, which I don't know if it's that good for like Nami in general. I just don't know if this is really the direction that we want to take, right? It's still 4 costs like Mihawk, right? So again, dealing with a lot of the cost-based removal that exists in the game. You get to go up on cards, but it's no counters in hand. Like, so essentially it's like you have to play it or it does nothing. Whereas Mihawk, you don't have to play. It's a 2K counter. A 2K counter is pretty good. You're already playing Apices. A lot of us, you know, are trying out different searchers and stuff that have their own 2Ks in those engines. I just don't think Cavendish is that good. And so with that, I just in general don't know if this list really is that great, right? Like the other teammates, you know, they have Shanks and Teach in there, Dofi and purple Luffy. Yeah, I mean, I think those are the other users there. So they have blue Dofi and purple Luffy in the other users. So it's a 5v5 tournament. I'm not sure if the results are kind of based off of the other teammates winning. I don't know what the matchups is. I'm talking a lot of smack. I don't see how this list works in a wider metagame, because there's some decision making in here that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe there's something to do with the OP10 metagame that I'm not cluing into, which is also another fair consideration, where bouncing maybe is more relevant, or maybe there's maybe a little bit less removal, or the removal is more costed, and so Boodle is better. So I will accept that criticism. I just think in general, from my OP08 knowledge, my OP09 knowledge, I just don't see a lot of these decisions making a lot of sense, or that Cavendish is that good. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I do plan on making a video later this week on the Dressrosa kind of build of Nami, and how I think there are some cool options that could come out of it, especially coming out of OP10 with what we have revealed so far. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Am I completely off basis? Am I just talking smack, or is there something with this Nami list? Is there something with Cavendish that I'm missing? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, because I'm open to it. If I'm missing something, I'm here for the tech. Y'all see my videos. I'm always trying to find something new, always trying to brew something up with Nami. So I'd love to, hey, honestly, if Cavendish can work, it only helps Nami become better. So I don't want Nami to become worse. If there's some type of tech I'm missing with Cavendish, help me see the light.